welcome, beautiful souls, to another episode of the Spiritual Catalyst podcast, where we talk about all things weird and woo. I am your host, Sarah Lyons, the founder of thenewearthschool.com.au, and today we have the beautiful Robyn Ridley with us to talk about sensuality, spirituality, and archetypal influences. Now, Robyn is an inspirational speaker, author, and soul coach. She's passionate in supporting women to become the best versions of themselves that they can be and to step into who they truly are. Robyn has worked in the health, healing, and complementary therapy sectors for more than 30 years and has provided services to women in varying roles across their lifespan. Robyn, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you? Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I'm so excited and I really appreciate you having me in this space. So thank you very, very much. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Oh, I love everything about this topic, even though we haven't gotten into it together. I want to hear all about sensuality, spirituality, and archetypal influences. For the listeners who may not have heard about these concepts before, how about we just go from there? From your perspective, what is this?
Wow, how long have you got? No, it's wonderful. It's an amazing topic and you would very much appreciate it. You know, that beautiful goddess, divine feminine archetype. And, you know, a lot of people believe that, you know, you can't be sensual if you're spiritual or, you know, there's like this belief system. It's a little bit like the money system, you know, that people have these, you know, warped belief systems, and I've certainly had a few of those in my time. But you know, when we talk about sensuality and spirituality, they're very much connected, and we very much need to be tapped into that energy of both. You know, that beautiful divine energy, if you like. And for me, I think we need to start with that beautiful womb space, that beautiful emotional aspect of our body that, you know, can hold trauma as women. And for many that, you know, it's a journey, a healing journey and a journey of uncovering who we really are and, you know, the way that we sense or feel or know or see things in the world can be related to our experiences. And it can also be related to so much more than that, you know. And so I think as women, we need to, especially as mature women, it's about the unfoldment of who we are, stripping away all the layers, you know. Like, we know that our senses, we can see things that are amazing, and for some there can also be triggers with that. So it's about learning to actually, you know, it's working through the trauma, but we're taking this a bit further tonight, where we're talking about the necessity of the link. Like, we shut that down, we shut that part of ourselves down as women, or we can do. And for me, it's like, if we actually tap into that beautiful energy, it is free flowing, you know, rather than being that element of stuckness or that element of blockages in our body, if you like. And so it's massive. And for us to actually function as spiritual beings, it is essential. So, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but for me, it's like, you know, the two are connected. So if we look at that, a beautiful free flow of energy, where we look at the potential in our womb space is tapping into the bliss, you know, that's amazing. That insight and the bliss that we have, it has an energy, it's like an intelligence of its own in that area of our body. And with that, I feel, wow, you know, if we can realise that when we start to get in touch with that, because I don't know, you know, many people had experience, I was so disconnected from my body. You know, I spent many years not even in my body. And then when I was in my body, I didn't even like, you know, what my body was. So, you know, that was a lot of unlearning, if you like, or relearning, rebirth even, which I like to look at it that way with the womb space. So when we talk about that beautiful energy, the connection from our womb space to our throat, of the way that we speak, the way that we show up in the world, the way that we express ourselves, that's the free flow of energy. And if we shut ourselves down, vow of silence for whatever reason,
Yes.
then we have that blockage, you know?
Yes.
And so you can understand when people want to be spiritual, this is where we need to be starting. We need to be starting on healing anything that we need to in that area so that we can actually then show up in the world and say what we need to say, you know, be who we need to be. Yeah. And then as we do that, like, I just love the way the body works in harmony, you know, that beautiful, we go through the deep fears into the deep joy, you know, then we go into the fear, if you like, not quite so deep, lighten it up, have a little bit more joy, and then we start to find that beautiful confidence, you know, and then where do we go from there is where we start to look at, we have the ability to see the truth, we have the ability to actually see all that is. So we don't define ourselves by our past. We don't define ourselves. We're not in this little box. Because once we start tapping into our spirituality, like, what is that for us? You know, it's so personal. It's really, really personal. And our spirituality is exactly what it means for us. And quite often that mystic, which I consider that I'm a modern mystic, it's actually the seeker of the truth. It is someone who's searching for or seeking, you know, those beautiful answers. And I think the more that we sense and feel into the world, and not only the world, ourselves, the more that we can seek or see whatever's without and whatever's within. And ultimately that beautiful divine connection from that sacral area to our crown, you know, that ultimate connection with spirit, connection with source, whatever that means for you, you know, whether you believe in God, spirit, angels, whatever works for you. It might be your higher self, you know. So I just love it because it's like, I like working with women in actually exploring all of those things, and then in an archetypal way. And well, you'd know there's a lot of archetypes that we can have in our lives, and we certainly develop them over time. Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to speak now, because I have spoken non-stop. So is there anything you wanted to say, Sarah?
No, so I guess for those women that are listening and they know it, they feel it, they've shut down through, you know, whatever reasons, especially for women, you know, we shut down and close ourselves off and we stay small. What would you suggest to the women that are listening to open all of that back up?
I think it's really important as women that we trust our intuition. Yeah. So I think when we're looking for something that's going to work, for want of a better word, that's going to help us move wherever we need to go, I think we really need to trust ourselves. And some women need that somatic, need the touch, they need body movement. You know, that could be anything from body work to massage. Others prefer being in the head, hypnotherapy, you know, all the, you know, the thought processes. Mindfulness is huge for our senses. So when we talk of sensuality, mindfulness, and actually, you know, what does that feel like? What does that look like? What does that, you know, but that doesn't help with the, well, it does. It helps with trauma in the fact that we can bring ourselves to the present moment. But if we're talking about deeper work, which I assume you were, I would say it's really trusting in the process. You know, is it are you a feeling type thing? Do you need to work on the emotions? And when we talk about sensuality, we are talking about the emotional body. So, you know, there's sometimes can be that area, that's the area of the body where there's a lot stored. And so how do you do that? How do you work with the emotions? Well, some like to go counselling, psychology, you know, whatever. But also there's so many healing modalities out there, as you know, that women can access. So I wouldn't pinpoint any particular one, because even when I wrote my book, I actually put all the things that helped me. And you know, it's a myriad of things, and a mixture even, you know, of body, mind, and you know, all of those things.
Yes. And so what process would you personally take a client through for this kind of thing, for this experience?
Well, I'm working more with clients in with the archetypal work. So
Yeah.
when I work with the archetypal work, so we all know, so let's go back to basics with archetypes. You know, you've got your mother archetype, you've got your father archetype, you've got your, the child archetype. And we know that doesn't mean you are the mother or the father or the child. It just means that you're acting in a certain way.
Yes.
So then we've got the fool. So people who can be, you go, oh, they're acting a fool, So there's a fool archetype. There's all those archetypes that the clown, the prostitute and the healer, the mystic, even there's so many. And what we've got to realise is all of those archetypes have both sides of the coin. Mm-hmm. So, positive or negative. So when I work with women with archetypes, it's about being able to explore something a little external, I guess. So when we're looking at archetypes, we're looking at a certain type of behaviour, or we're looking at a certain, and there's a common thread. We all know when we say they're like a mother, whether they're a mother or not. We all have that understanding of what that means. When we all say things like, she's like a detective. She works everything out. She goes and snoopes around and does, so
yeah.
We all know what they mean.
Yeah.
But for me, I love working with the goddesses. So when we're working with those beautiful goddess archetypes, it's like, well, we all have the Venus energy, which is our beautiful beauty, seductress, all those things. So there's another one on its own, seductress. Yeah. But we also have those, the energy of Artemis, where we can be focused and we can shoot for the stars, and that can get us through things as well. So I like to work with women about, what's the issue that's come up for them, and quite often I do it in conjunction with my book as well. Beautiful. And we go through that, which is topics ranging from grief, betrayal, right through to so much, forgiveness. Yeah, big stuff. So, but the archetypes enable you to have a bit of a play. So it doesn't have to be all so heavy and serious.
Yes.
And it's not about making anything wrong, because you know what? We're all okay. We're all okay exactly as we are, and we judge ourselves. So even when we talk about things like betrayal, we talk about things like promiscuity, we talk about, you name it, we talk about all these things. We also have a little thing on our shoulder of what we feel about that, or what our belief system is around that. So I explore belief systems with people as well. And can there be room for movement? And then also the emotions, and what are the emotions? Because I don't know about you, but I think I was about 35 before I ever felt sadness, because I had so much anger overlaying that. I didn't even know what sadness was, and I'd lost, significant people in my life, but I was just so angry. So not only learning the emotions, but understanding them, or not only understanding them, but learning them, because sometimes it's like, well, what is that emotion, So I just love it.
Yeah, I still to this day am learning emotions. A lot of my audience know I came into recovery from a long drug and alcohol addiction at 31 years of age, and nearly 10 years later, I'm still learning what I'm feeling. It's a journey.
It really is, isn't it? It's like, well, what the hell is that?
It's like sometimes I don't know what I'm feeling, but I know sometimes it feels good. Sometimes I don't like that feeling, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
Yeah. But once you start to, as you know, once you start to get a bit of awareness and looking at that and feeling into that, I think that's why I love the archetypes. Then it's not about making it wrong. It's about going, it's not judging it. It's just going, well, it just is, if it's blah, it's blah. If it's good, it's good. And isn't that honouring? That's so honouring.
Absolutely. And we don't need to label them. We don't need a name for them. I mean, we like to make up names and labels, but just being with that energy and being with ourselves, that is the processing piece of that.
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah.
So, Robyn, I have one more question for you, and that's regarding this sensuality piece, which I think is just so beautiful for us women to really not just tap in, but be with our sensuality and express our sensuality. I think some women get a little confused here with sexuality, and that means I'm going to be sexual. How would you explain that for the listeners that might be wondering, how do I do this? What's sensuality? How do I be sensual?
Yeah, that's a really a valid question. And I think what's really interesting is we can have sexuality, and sometimes we can have that sensuality with the sexuality, but we don't need the sexuality to be sensual.
Yeah.
So it's like it's standalone. And sensual to me, and this is just my interpretation, sensual to me is feeling into and accepting and moving and being at home in your body, being present and actually moving to your own rhythm, if you like. So it doesn't mean that you have to, I mean, obviously there's beautiful things that can get you in touch with that, like dance.
Yes.
Photography, art, all these things can make you feel into that sensual being. So it's about finding what connects to you, and there's no right or wrong there either. But it's like if you've closed that down and you haven't been sensual, like some women like have difficulty looking in the mirror. Some people have difficulty touching their body or looking at their body. So, it's about, for me, it's developing, and my book is Embrace Your Essential Body and You, body being the main component, because it's about developing a new relationship with your body. So you can't do it if we don't have a relationship with our body, because it's a word that's out there. Like, while I like to explore things in the archetypal way, I really feel embodying them is the key. So I feel we have to have that understanding of our body, and it can be very difficult. And yourself, like when you run groups and you might have a movement exercise or a dance exercise. Some people love it and really feel into it, and some people stand as still as a tree. Like,
we can clam up.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, because I have been on both ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
Clammed up for a long time. Now you can't keep me still. But it's like, it's been a journey, and it is a journey for women. And I think there needs to be a level of understanding. And I think that a lot of that has to do with our cellular memory, our ancestral patterns, you name it. It goes, doesn't it? As well as the trauma that women have encountered. So it's massive. And I never underestimate that. Whilst I love working with women and in getting to know who they are and, embracing their confidence and then celebrating themselves, I know that that's a massive journey. And I know how many years that took me. So I have that deep empathy and compassion, if you like, for that process.
Yes.
Yeah. And everyone's different.
They are, and I'm glad you said that too, because for me, I feel sensual when I wear my hair down, I have a dress on, and I'm intentional throughout my day. That feels sensual, but that could be completely different for another woman who maybe she does want to get into the sacred tantric dance or something like that. It's different for each of us, but it's really about embodying and embracing that beautiful divine essence that we were born with this, and it's so beautiful. And that's why I love to run female group programs and circles, because when you can see other women honoring their soul in that way too, it becomes easier for us to do that.
It does. And it wasn't the retreat this year, but last year I did a retreat that aligned with my book, and I actually got a surprise photographer. So how I managed that, I said to everyone, I want you to bring one thing that you feel absolutely beautiful wearing. So that was, and so that could have been anything for them.
Love it.
And so they knew there was something up in, adrift, but it was like, and it was a process. And you could imagine for some, it was huge having their photo done. Some wanted to wear makeup to look beautiful, and others wanted to be natural. So, and I think, isn't it wonderful that we can just honour what the person wants, you know? So that was so much fun, but for some it was a process.
Yeah.
As you could imagine. But the photographer was really beautiful, reflecting that people's beauty. So that was, and it comes in all forms, as you know.
Yeah.
You know? Could be as simple as smelling a rose, you know. It's just like so beautiful. You don't have to be posing. The images, it wasn't a pose. It was about how, you know, she helped people with the way they did that. But I guess what I'm saying is, like you said, with your hair down and then a dress on, well, whatever that means for someone, isn't it? It's beautiful. Yeah. If we can honour that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robyn, thank you so much. And I'd love to put the link to your book in the episode description as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And for those listening in who would love to connect with you and learn more about this sensuality, spirituality, and the archetypal influences, where can they best find you?
Look, probably the one-stop shop would be the website. So it's easy, robynridley.com. There's links on there to my Facebook and my Instagram anyway. And the book's on there. So, you know, that's absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is the quickest talk I've ever had on that topic.
That's funny. I can see how, you know, we really could go down such a vast rabbit hole, and these episodes are really the reason why we keep them to the 20-minute-ish mark is just so that it's easily digestible for the audience to listen in. And you know, we live in a digital world and there's so many, you know, 3 and 4 hour webinars, and that doesn't feel good to my soul.
No. Do you ever get to the end of them is the question.
No. If I'm really interested in someone who, you know, resonates with my ethos and values, and it's lengthy, I'll put them on like double speed and get through that content. Oh, thank you so much again, darling. And thank you to our beautiful listeners. If you enjoyed this episode today, please consider leaving us a review, and we will see you next time for some more Spiritual Catalyst episodes in the future. Bye.